Ever wondered what's hidden behind the obvious? Discover the untold, the mysterious, the mind-blowing. Welcome to The Secret of.
We are continents, meant to be connected, explored, and understood by one another. The human brain is a marvel of biological engineering, a complex network of neurons firing and wiring. Yet, it does not develop in a vacuum. From the moment of birth and even before, it is shaped by experiences, by interactions. The most crucial of these interactions are with other human beings. Early childhood is a period of explosive brain growth, a time of incredible plasticity. During these formative years, social interactions provide the essential stimuli that drive this development. A caregiver's smile, a soothing voice, the comfort of a hug, these are vital inputs that help organize the brain. Without these, the brain's architecture can be profoundly and often irreversibly altered. Neuroscience has shown us that prolonged social isolation can lead to tangible changes in brain structure and function. The brain expects, and indeed requires, a rich social environment to flourish, much like a plant needs sunlight and water to grow towards its full potential. The absence of these connections, especially in the critical early years, is not just a social lack, it is a neurological deprivation. Language. It is more than just words, more than just a means of communication. It is the very framework upon which we build our thoughts, our understanding of the world. Without language, the human mind, for all its potential, remains a largely uncharted territory. It is the first spark that illuminates the vast caverns of consciousness, allowing complex ideas to take shape and be shared with others around us. Consider how a child learns. They absorb words, phrases, the rhythm and melody of speech. Each new word is a key, unlocking a new concept, a new way of seeing. We learn language from others, our parents, our siblings, our peers. The absence of this linguistic immersion during critical developmental periods can have devastating consequences. If a child is not exposed to language, their ability to develop abstract thought, to understand complex social rules, or even to form a coherent sense of self can be severely impaired. The mind needs language to organize experience, to make sense of the chaotic influx of sensory information. In the year 1799, a boy emerged from the forests of Aveyron, in southern France. He was wild, nonverbal, and seemingly untamed by human society. This boy, later named Victor, became a sensation, a living embodiment of the noble savage debated by philosophers of the time. He had survived for years alone, but at what cost to his human development? Dr. Jean-Marc Gaspard Itard, a young physician, took on the ambitious task of educating Victor, of trying to bring him into the fold of human society. Itard's efforts were painstaking, filled with small victories and profound disappointments. He managed to teach Victor some basic social behaviors, to recognize some words, and even to show affection. Yet, Victor never truly mastered language. He never developed the fluid, abstract thought that language underpins. Victor's story highlights the concept of critical periods in development. There seems to be a window of opportunity in early childhood when the brain is uniquely receptive to learning language. Section 5. Genie's Cage, a modern tale of silence imposed. More than a century and a half after Victor, another story of profound isolation shocked the world. In 1970, a young girl named Jeannie was discovered in California. She had been kept in extreme confinement by her father, strapped to a potty chair in a darkened room for most of her 13 years. She had minimal human contact, no exposure to language, and lived in a state of severe sensory and social deprivation. When found, Jeannie was a shadow of a child. She was malnourished, unable to speak, and moved with an awkward, unsteady gait. Scientists and linguists were eager to study her, to see if, even at 13, she could acquire language and catch up on years of missed development. There was hope, initially. Jeannie showed a curiosity about the world, a desire to communicate. She began to learn words, to form simple sentences. But the progress was slow, arduous, and ultimately limited in its scope. Section 6. The Shattered Mirror, Identity Forged in Society, Lost in Solitude. Who are we? This fundamental question of identity is not answered in a vacuum. Our sense of self, our understanding of who we are in the world, is largely a social construction. It's built like a mosaic, piece by piece through our interactions with others. We see ourselves reflected in their eyes and their responses to us. We learn about our strengths, our weaknesses, our place in the social order, through this constant feedback loop. This is how we come to know ourselves. In complete isolation, this reflective process is absent. There is no mirror of society to gaze into, no feedback to help shape the contours of the self. The isolated individual may struggle to develop a coherent identity, or an existing identity may begin to fragment and erode over time. Without the roles, responsibilities, and relationships that define us in a social context, the sense of who one is can become blurred, uncertain, and deeply unstable. The very foundation of selfhood is shaken to its core. Section 7. Echoes of Emptiness. The deep emotional scars of isolation. The human heart, much like the mind, craves connection. Love, affection, empathy. These are not luxuries but essential nutrients for our emotional well-being. When these are denied, especially during the formative years of childhood, the emotional consequences can be devastating and long-lasting. Isolation starves the heart, leaving behind echoes of emptiness, a profound sense of being unloved and unwanted. These scars can shape an individual's entire emotional landscape, affecting their ability to trust, to form healthy relationships, and to experience joy. Even for adults, prolonged isolation can lead to serious mental health issues. Depression, anxiety disorders, and even psychosis can be triggered or exacerbated by the lack of social contact. The human psyche is not built for solitude in its extreme form. Section 8. Forbidden Knowledge. Unethical Experiments and Stark Realities. Throughout history, there have been dark chapters where curiosity about human nature led to ethically unconscionable experiments. Some of these, though not always intended as such, shed a grim light on the effects of isolation. One cannot speak of this topic without acknowledging the infamous, though perhaps apocryphal, experiments attributed to figures like Emperor Frederick II in the 13th century. He allegedly raised children in silence, deprived of all human interaction and affection, to see what language they would naturally speak. The legend says the children simply died. While the veracity of such ancient tales is debated, the 20th century saw more scientifically documented yet equally disturbing studies. Harry Harlow's experiments with rhesus monkeys in the 1950s and 60s are a stark example. He separated infant monkeys from their mothers, offering them instead wire mothers, one providing milk, the other covered in soft cloth but offering no nourishment. Section 9. The Irreversible Mark. humanity's need for love, voice, and connection. The journey through the secret life of isolation reveals a profound and sometimes painful truth. The marks left by prolonged separation from human contact, especially in the crucial early years, are often deep and irreversible. While some recovery is possible, a full return to what might have been, to the complete blossoming of human potential, is tragically rare. The developing brain, the emerging identity, the capacity for rich emotional life, all are intricately tied to the presence of others, to the symphony of human interaction. We have seen through the stories of Victor and Genie that the windows for acquiring fundamental human traits like language are real. Once these critical periods pass, the mind, however resilient, struggles to lay down those foundational pathways. The absence of a loving voice, a gentle touch, a consistent connection, leaves voids that no amount of later intervention can entirely fill. This understanding calls us to reflect on the profound importance of every interaction, every relationship. It highlights the immense responsibility we have to the children in our lives, to provide them with the love, the language, and the connection they need to thrive. It also speaks to our societal responsibility to ensure that no individual is left to languish in the desolate silence of extreme isolation, whether through neglect, cruelty, or circumstance. Ultimately, the secret life of isolation unveils not a mystery of solitude, but the fundamental truth of our interconnectedness.